Hi, this is Eternal King here, bringing you another LOR video today. So I wanted to give you live impressions of the Variety Pack, talk about where I think the cards are going to fit in. And yeah, let's start by just, crafting everything out. We've got lots of currency, lots of cards, so I wouldn't worry too much about my own resources right now. Ever since Riot was kind enough to just pass me along a ton of junk, essentially for free, for supporting the game as long as I have, I assume. Other than that, or it was just a bug, and now I just got like a ton of currency that allowed me to buy all the cards. But let's purchase everything, and then review each card individually. Okay. Some I definitely have stronger opinions about than others. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that some of the cards are much stronger than others. Um, like this one in particular, I think is not great. But let me just purchase all the cards first, which is fun if this is the kind of thing that you're into. You guys don't see me like live purchase cards very often, but there you go. I went from like 90,000 gems to like 78,000 gems. Like it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's see if we can filter now to the best of our abilities to the new cards. Do they count as event cards? Yeah, so the first one is Prancing Sea Spirit. So this new card essentially is designed to allow you to cash out on deck buffs or hand buffs. Some people theorize that the best way to run this card is with Chimes, or people love to just jam Omen Hawk and Dog into every single deck, and because again, it is, it's not bad, it's good enough. They're great tempo cards, and every deck could use more tempo. So like, why not run Dog? It's like the 1-mana Chime card, Beard. Like everyone runs Beard in their decks because it's just a good 1-mana tempo card. Well, Omen Hawk's the same way, and Dog is the same way on 2. They're just good cards. But I digress. This looks like an elusive spam card to me. And so the best way to cash out on elusive spam is basically Targon. So it's usually Targon is the way that you cash out on elusive spam. And that's because Targon has all the best elusive buff cards. We'll just get off of here for a second. So they have all the best elusive buff cards. They have Darkened Lodestone, pretty important for every single elusive spam deck. And they have things like Blessing of Targon. Obviously, anything that's burst speed, gives stuff stats in Targon is good for elusive spam. So Blessing of Targon. Purifying Flames is not bad. Definitely good with definitely kind of the card that came to mind for me most with the Ionia variety card, because essentially having it come down as 6/6 worth of elusive stats on 3 after you banked 3 mana, and if you have the attack token, then like that's so strong for elusive spam. It's just like Purifying Flames into the 2-mana elusive, attack token on 3, you bank the mana, swing for 6 damage, that's unblockable, and like that is so unbelievably strong, that line. It's pretty much stronger than any other exact elusive spam hand I can think of on attack token 3, right? Like on when you have the attack token on mana 3. So that's the way that I think of it. I think of it as a Purifying Flames card. That's the best cash out imaginable. That isn't a meme. Like it's actually like playable by turn 3 in an aggressive elusive spam shell. Purifying Flames will come down with the new variety cards. So that's pretty good. So again, I think that was one card that was undervalued from the variety pack. I'll be trying Ionia elusive spam again now, thanks to that. So it'll be Ionia Targon in an elusive spam shell. So I'll try to brew that out in a little bit later. Chained Caster. Basically, it's kind of like Butcher, where it's a 0-mana 3/2. I see this being a Nightfall activator. So a lot of Nightfall decks tend to run the 1-mana cycle card. It's like Daybreak. It's like a Daybreak and a Nightfall activator, and it's 1 mana. People run that just to activate Nightfall more consistently, and that is the right call. And in that instance, you probably want to be on Chaincaster, because you can activate the Nightfall for 0 when you need the 2-mana challenge off of Diana, and then you can spend the 2 mana later when you have some extra mana to activate Nightfall again if you want to. In that sense, it doesn't matter that he is ever swinging, right? It's just the 0-mana Nightfall activator. So in that, I think it's actually pretty good. Just in that deck specifically. I wouldn't run it in any other deck. But as a Nightfall activator, it's very good. I think it's the only like 0 mana Nightfall activator I can think of that exists in LOR. Other variety cards, prototype Porobot. Last Breath grant, summon a random 6-cost spell in hand. So it's elusive and it attunes, and this is an amazing card for Jace Lux. Basically, prototype Porobot, even after you spend the 6 mana, you actually get prototype Porobot back. So he like recycles. Like I assume that means he can't die. Because when you play the spell, you summon the prototype Porobot again, and then Porobot dies, you get a spell, you summon him again. So he's an infinite cycling tool in Jace Lux. That's very, very good. You know, again, it gives you something to run alongside something like Pharaoh's Financier, so I would definitely give this card a shot. Other variety cards, Sneaky Swaps. Recall an ally and summon a Hungry Owlcat in its place. Hungry Owlcat, if you don't know, is a 2/1 with Spell Shield. However, if you are running a Fey deck, this is a Fey tribal card, that means that Hungry Owlcat is coming down as a 3/1 most of the time. And that means that this card is just as good as Zed's spell, which, you know, it's not great. In this case, because it's not the Zed spell that nobody runs or ever plays, obviously the unit that you're summoning is ephemeral. So, but this card is meant to be used in response to removal, and then you get to keep the Owlcat because it's not ephemeral. So, like, I understand it. I don't think it's amazing, but yeah, you know, you could, you know, basically bounce a Teemo and get an Owlcat out of it. And given that there are no good bounces in Bandle, it's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Kashuri Swipe. Kill a unit if it's damaged, otherwise deal 2 to it. I like this card a lot. I like flexible card designs like this where, you know, you don't want another Flock or Disintegrate in Eternal. And so the devs can't print anything on that power level. But they can print a card that is more flexible, that, you know, you can run in any Noxus deck potentially without activators and without full ping commitment. And you just, like, you get either or. I like it. It's not bad. More variety cards. This is the big one people were excited for, which is Bladebound Berserker. When you play a slow spell that targets a single ally, copy it onto me. So this is an Undir card. Basically, you play the 2-mana Undir card, you get the stance swap, you play this on 4, and then you play Undir on 5. The stance swap now costs 0. You give 2+2 to Undir, and then you'll have a 5/6 4-mana card as well, with potential to grow bigger. That makes Undir a lot better. Undir has always struggled in that sort of mid-range mana gap between the 2-mana card and then Undir coming down on 5, and this is going to help smooth that out. So obviously, if you are an Undir main, you run this card as a 3-of, just automatically. It's a common, so again, it shouldn't be a problem for you. More variety cards. See, some of these cards I actually think are like new variety cards, but like, no, this has been in the game. I've just never ever played it before. This looks kind of fun to support activator. So yeah, variety cards are fun. Chakram Dancer. So Chakram Dancer, deal 1 to anything, your skills drain. I see this being kind of a keg card, honestly. Like, or, you know, it's a really tough thing because, like, how much does this card need to drain to be useful? 5-mana drain 1 is not good enough. So how do you enhance her play effect in Bilgewater? Well, it's basically kegs, right? So you play her on 5, and then you're potentially draining for 3 off of some kegs, and then she's good enough. Outside of kegs, like keg combo style decks, I don't think she's going to have a home. But happy to be wrong about that. Yes, because you kind of run her alongside something like this, Mischievous Mirai. So you just, like, it's like keg spam. Going on, Talon Strike. Honestly, this isn't even worth the however many crystals I spent on it, because Bird Tribal, it's kind of like Pack Attack. There's a card that was printed in a variety pack called Pack Attack, and it was for cats. This is like Pack Attack, but it's for birds. Now, Bird Tribal is better than Cat Tribal. I will give it that because there are things like Royal Shimmerwing, and Royal Shimmerwing is actually not bad. Other bird allies have +1. And Quick Attack, that's actually really powerful. Board wide, Tribal Quick Attack is usually a decent effect. So, you know, I'm not going to tell you that Bird Tribal is going to be #1 deck, but, like, there's enough there now that you can try it if you want. And again, like, this is also a variety pack card that I have, you know, not touched. When I'm summoned, I improvise, plunder, forge other allies. Again, like, that's really cool, but it's kind of tough to pull off. Horn Swarmcaller, grant 2 enemies -1 and disable their keywords. So it's a dragon, so that matters. It has fury, that matters, and it's a quicksands on a body, which matters. Keep in mind that it is grant. So this card is actually pretty good because Quicksands is obviously a burst effect that is only temporary. This is grant. If your opponent plays 2 elusives and you play Horn Swarmcaller on the elusives, they are permanently not elusive now for the rest of the game. So really good. I'd probably run this in like Mono Shrema because Mono Shrema needs a top end. Like there's nothing good control-wise that Mono Shrema wants to run, so I would run this all day long. Yeah. And I think that's everything. We do have a big new dragon here in Shadow Isles. When I'm summoned, grant me Deathless. Attack and give enemies -1 this round. This is really bad. It's mainly that the health stat line. Like I think they just were very careful when it came to printing like a big Deathless, you know, 8-drop. But this isn't getting it done. Because keep in mind that even if it is an 8/4 and it attacks, it's going to die into like a 3-drop or a 4-drop, and then your opponent can just like Vile Feast it. So like it's never going to get there. But still, you know, I guess I have no concept of what this card is good for. And yeah, that's it. That's all the variety cards reviewed. Some good stuff in there that I want to play around with. Again, I kind of did a post recently saying that ladder in Eternal right now, the Eternal Ranked, is so easy. Like, no one has any concept of how to play the format properly. So I might just go back to casual queue and then try brewing some of these variety card packs because, again, it's not really fun if the opponents that I'm facing only are all like standard brain and they just don't understand the concept of flipping champions. And then they're never going to challenge me if that's their mindset. Like, they just can't possibly be on my level if they are not synergizing and potentially drawing out the latent potential of their champions. It's just, that's not how Eternal is played. That is how Standard is played. Standard, you never commit to any champion unless it's like, you know, any Jhin. Then you commit to the Jhin level, but otherwise you don't. But like, I've faced deep players that do not turbo deep. I've faced Braum players that, you know, don't in any way try to synergize with the Braum. It's hard to watch. It's really hard to watch because when they play that line where their only threatening attack is the open attack, or the only thing they can do is utilize an attack token efficiently, like that's the one arrow to their quiver, when that's all they can do, and like I can do things like, you know, double bounce a Braum and, you know, attack 3 wide 3 times in a turn. Like it's not the same power level, not at all. Alright, this is Eternal King signing out. I think the variety cards are pretty cool. I'll definitely be playing around with them. So stay tuned for that.